Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are doing a collective reading and energy update because, of course, today is Monday, and I do channel these collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you do find during the reading that you are feeling a kind of resonance with the messages, you can also feel free to join me in the extended version of this reading on Patreon. I always do an extended version of those Monday, Wednesday, Friday collective readings in our Patreon Soul Tribe. So the information on how to join is under the video as well. I actually just saw the number 111 on the recording timer. And of course, this is a powerful number synchronicity related to alignment and manifestation as well. So I'm actually going to start off this reading by channeling a message from that number. You guys know that when a specific number comes up in the readings, I often like to channel a little bit for that specifically. So this number signifies confidence within yourself and motivates your own strength and decision making where opportunities are sent your way. I feel from this number there is something being highlighted connected to your sense of confidence in yourself and recognizing how much your confidence has been up-leveled recently. I'm also getting a message coming through that before major manifestations come into your life, those big dreams that you've been holding in your heart, there has to be a kind of building of momentum of the energy. You see this in nature all the time. For example, with a seed, you will plant a seed beneath the earth where it is not visible, and you will water it and care for it and nurture it for a while as it builds up its own momentum until it finally sprouts and grows above the earth where it becomes highly visible. But every manifestation in our life works just like that seed. The seed is the vision, the idea, the new version of ourselves that we want to embody, and that daily watering and nurturing is continuing to feed that vision and build that energetic momentum with our own positive thoughts, our own manifestation techniques and rituals that really help us to cultivate that energy. Now, of course, we all do have different methods and techniques of manifesting that work for us individually, that help us to essentially build that energetic momentum towards a vision. But regardless of what that is for you, I just get the sense that there may be certain new kinds of manifestations or visions or things that you've been wanting to embody in your life, but lately you've been feeding a lot of these things with a new kind of energy and perhaps not yet fully seeing them sprout above the earth, so to speak. And if that is the case, know that you are receiving a sign of confirmation from your spirit guides, from your higher self, from the universe, however you conceptualize those divine cosmic forces guiding your life. You are receiving that confirmation from them that you are on the right track, that you can trust yourself, your inner guidance, that even though you aren't yet fully seeing that evidence yet, you are putting new energy, new life into this vision, into this goal or dream. And that is going to bring entirely new results that are going to become highly visible, not just to yourself, but to many others around you as well. Now, as I was meditating this morning, I received a really powerful vision. And it was that I was outside of planet Earth, up in space, and looking down on the Earth as a globe. And the Earth was moving in a certain direction, but then stopped and paused and then began slowly moving in the other direction. And obviously, this is not a literal kind of vision, but I symbolically sensed that this vision is connected to a realignment with old timelines. And I also saw this vision of there being a timeline from possibly many months or years ago that had seemed to be entirely abandoned or put on pause. And it's like there was this huge gap in that timeline. And then suddenly a realignment with the same timeline, but in a more powerful way. And I know that these visions are very much connected because what I'm sensing is that something is beginning to come back around again, like the Earth pausing and then beginning to move in a different direction. There's a lot of new energy and yet an alignment with an old timeline. Now, this is going to look different for everyone. And of course, anytime we attempt to define energy in physical words, there are always limitations because pure energy can't really be described or limited with language. It is something that we just feel and sense. And if you are resonating with this video and you are part of our community here, I know that you have the ability to sense energy and you know what I'm talking about here. You know how to feel into that pure energetic place. And you also know how difficult it can be at times to take that pure energy and translate it into something physical like human language. But this is the best way that I can describe it. And what I was sensing from this old timeline is this might be a previous relationship, a connection, a phase of your life. This also could be a dream, a goal, something that you used to feel a lot of passion for. Again, take this as it resonates. But there was some kind of old timeline. And I just get, for many of you, this may have been even 10 years ago. I don't know why I'm getting that number 10. For others of you, this could have been decades ago. For some of you, this may have only been a few months or years ago, but there was some timeline that had to be abandoned at that point in time for a period of time. And the reason for this is because in order for that timeline to fully blossom, to reach its fulfillment, you had to be completely alchemized and transformed from the inside out. So you may have gone through a period of time where you actually lost passion for whatever that timeline was, whether, again, it was a connection that just ran out of steam, whether it was a version of yourself that just no longer resonated with you, whether it was a dream that just didn't light you up anymore. There was this period of time where you inexplicably felt things losing momentum, and this may have been very confusing for you. But the guides are saying that the reason this happened is because you needed to be transformed from the inside out through that break in the timeline that most likely felt like a massive void for you. There was most likely a huge ego deconstruction happening during that void, during that break in the timeline. But something is resuming. It's like I'm literally seeing that it's almost as if a movie was paused and now someone's hitting play again and things are resuming. So I feel that for whoever I'm speaking to here, there is this really strange sense of nostalgia. There's this feeling of things from many months or years ago suddenly resurfacing and picking up where they left off, as though they never took that pause or took that break to begin with. This could be friendships, family connections, dreams, goals, hobbies. There is just this powerful sense of circling back, but there's something important that you need to know about this circling back experience, and it's that although you are resuming this old timeline, the energy that you are bringing to the table is entirely transformed, because you did undergo this very intense transformational period where I feel you went through this massively upheaving, but also realigning spiritual awakening. And that entirely shifted your vibration. So it's almost as though the universe, the guides, put this timeline on pause, and I'm imagining a whole world just frozen. It's like everyone and everything is frozen in place except you. So they put this timeline on pause so that you could move around between other timelines, really get your footing, really allow yourself to evolve and to transform spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And now it's like the play button is being pressed and all of that movement in the world is resuming suddenly. And you can feel this intuitively in a way that has most likely felt very strange to you, because many of these things that are coming back around again, you most likely would have never guessed were going to resurface for you, whether it's an old friend, maybe an old location that you decide to return to, an old passion you decide to pick back up again. You most likely believed that you fully put to death these things, connections, experiences, that you completely emotionally disconnected from them. But really what was happening is, again, everything was being, in a sense, frozen or put on pause on that particular timeline so that you could transform and become the person that you needed to be in order to allow those things to reach their fullest and highest potential, which wouldn't have been possible from that old version of you, that outdated version of you. It's almost as though so much in that world feels like it stayed the same, but you have entirely transformed. You are a completely different person, and therefore you are bringing a new energy to all of those old dreams, goals, possibly connections, friendships, opportunities, whatever it is for you. I'm just hearing there may have even been very specific opportunities that in the past you felt right on the brink of connecting with or manifesting, but it's almost like you were being blocked. And the reason was because your guides are saying you weren't ready at the time to fully receive those opportunities. So they were blocked, even though you may have felt right on the brink of them. But now you are ready because you've done the work, because you have evolved, because you have been extremely updated through experiences, which, by the way, were not easy. They were trials by fire that you went through. It was a true initiation spiritually that you underwent in order to allow yourself to become the person you needed to be, to now reconnect with those people, things, opportunities, places, and allow them to evolve into their fullest and highest potential. So, wow, 14 minutes in and we haven't pulled a single card yet, but thank you for being part of co-creating that download that has come through. We are all co-creators, of course, here on the channel. And again, I know that these things and dynamics are difficult to put into words, but I hope that if this has been your experience recently, this is resonating for you in a meaningful way. If so, I would love to hear from you in the comments under the video. Of course, at the end of the day, your intuition is your perfect compass through life, and it's really just my goal through these readings to reconnect you with that intuitive voice within yourself in a more conscious way. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the energy oracle cards deck. And we have door to romance in the reverse position. So there is the sense of something having been blocked, romantically speaking. This may actually be your love life in general. You may have felt as though your love life was being put on hold in a general sense, or certain romantic opportunities were simply not seeming to work out or come together for you. And if that is the case, this was for a divine reason. This was because your spirit guides knew that that pause in the timelines, that void, which may have been several years or even decades for some of you, was actually a time of deep initiation and personal transformation. So you were actually blocked from locking yourself in to any one specific timeline with a certain romantic person, for the purpose of really allowing that transformation personally to take its full effect. So I want to see if I can get more information. The number 333 may be connecting with you. I also see that another reason things may have been a bit blocked for you romantically, especially if you are resonating here as a divine feminine, although of course we all have a balance of divine feminine and divine masculine energies internally. So these messages could apply to your internal divine feminine or divine masculine. They also could apply to an external person or situation. But I'm getting a message for a divine feminine here, and this is that there's a bit of a frustrating dynamic, if I'm being honest, that's been going on for you. Frustrating to your human self, but beautiful from a spiritual perspective. And I will get into the details on that. It's a very complex situation that we're about to channel into here. So essentially for this divine feminine, this is for someone who has felt things a bit blocked or out of alignment in the physical world in love. I'm sensing you may have attempted to pursue different romantic connections or opportunities, and I'm hearing to forget. So there may have been someone or something from your past that highly impacted you, and you may have walked away from that person or situation, but every time you would try to connect with a new romantic person or partner or opportunity, I'm getting that there would be a period of time where you would really feel as though things were picking up momentum, or you were really beginning to build a connection with that person. And then suddenly things would just seem to drop off. And this has been really confusing for the divine feminine that I'm channeled into here. But what I'm getting is that this divine feminine is on a really sacred divine counterpart or twin flame path. So you might not resonate with the term twin flame, but there is a very sacred soul love connection that you are meant to experience in this life, where there's very much a shared soul purpose and mission. Now, this might be someone that you've met previously in this lifetime. This may be someone that you've never met, but that you've always sensed. You may have had a glimpse of this person. You may be separated from this person physically. But whatever the case is here, this sacred divine counterpart is, again, someone that you're meant to share more than just a love connection with. There's a very strong element of soul mission and soul purpose here. And because of this, because of the intensity of this connection, I keep seeing fire. So it's like a literal fire that seems to burn away anyone else who tries to get too close to you. So anytime that And by the way, this is mirrored. Even if your human self doubts that this dynamic is being mirrored, it is. This masculine is going through the same experience. It's like anytime either of you gets too close to another person or situation, this fire energy kind of comes up and halts that connection. But I know that from a human perspective, as I said, I feel this has been extremely frustrating and extremely emotional. And that's understandable because the path you're walking is incredibly unique and there's no roadmap for it. There's really no blueprint for what you're experiencing besides the blueprint that you carry within you in the form of your intuition that is guiding you moment by moment through this. But most people are not going to be able to consciously grasp why you are operating in the way that you are, because only you hold that blueprint for yourself. And that is part of why building confidence, as we said earlier, has been such an essential part of your path, because through that building of your own confidence, you've been learning how to fully trust yourself, and that in the moment, step-by-step guidance that oftentimes many people around you will ridicule or not understand. But what I'm getting here is that this connection is very deep and very ancient. So there are a lot of past lives that were lived here in connection with this masculine. But I will say that it seems in many of these lifetimes, the presence of the other person was more so a guiding energy than a physical reality, because I sense that oftentimes in past lives, this connection has been too intense for the two of you to fully merge and to connect in the physical world. So there was always this sense of longing. There was always a sense that this person was out there for you and you could feel this connectedness. But I'm also getting that in many past lives, there may have been very little physical component to this connection. Now, the reason things are different in this lifetime, again, if you haven't yet met this person, I sense there will be a physical connection here. For many of you, there already has been. But the evolving of human technologies have allowed the two of you to connect in ways that you were never able to connect in past lifetimes, or at least in most past lives, just because of the intensity of this connection. What I mean is technologies have allowed the two of you to be able to connect via some kind of a virtual medium at times, or to stay in connection that way, so as to allow both of you more time and space to process the intensity of the energy at a distance before fully meeting or fully coming together physically. Now, I know that this is going to be a hyper-specific message. I know this won't connect with everyone, but I feel I'm speaking to a group who either initially met this particular masculine online through social media. Maybe you connected via the phone or text messaging, or even if you did meet this person in person initially, the energy was so intense that there was a period of time where most of your communication thereafter was actually through these virtual mediums. Now, in a sense, these virtual mediums, these technologies have almost become an extension of our spiritual self, our own energy. And what I mean by that is, prior to these technologies, we would have communicated via the subconscious, via telepathy, via the soul, astral travel. And yes, you do still connect in those ways, but because of technology, you are now able to have more of a manifested version, more of a conscious version of those forms of spiritual connectedness. So what I mean is being able to consciously either see each other online on social media or communicate via phone or message allows your souls to communicate more consciously and more continuously, while still at the same time being able to evade just being pummeled by the intensity of the energy all at once through a more consistent manifested physical connection. It's almost like easing you both into the intensity of all of this, whereas in past lifetimes, there was no way to really bridge that distance as easily. I hope this is making sense. This is a massive download for someone, but I also know it's a very specific message, so only take this if it connects. But what I'm getting here is this has also led to complications where your connection is almost in this limbo space, because in past lifetimes, when your communication was almost entirely subconscious, you were kind of a guiding energy for each other. Because the connection was less human conscious, you were able to more easily build other relationships and connections in the physical. So long-term connections, marriages, things of that nature. Because although you always sensed the presence of this person, you weren't as connected physically, if that makes sense. And now the complication is this connection is still seemingly too intense to fully merge it into a physical, full-blown, consistent relationship in 3D, but you are more conscious of the connection because of these virtual and technological advancements that are allowing the two of you to connect more consistently and consciously, and yet to be kind of at this distance, if this makes sense. I know that, again, this is so complex, but it's almost like the complication is, since you are able to connect virtually and through technology in this life, but at a distance, there is this limbo space being created where you feel a sense of conscious connection and even soul obligation at times to this divine counterpart, and yet the connection is so intense that it isn't yet ready to ground itself in the physical. And yet at the same time, you recognize that you are here incarnated on earth to live the human experience, to enjoy connection, to enjoy your life. And so there is kind of this delicate balancing act happening here that is most likely very complicated for you to understand, to intellectualize, but also, and even especially, to attempt to explain to other people who haven't experienced a connection this intense. So I know that this has been a really high level reading and conversation, but one that I feel has been really necessary here. And I'm hoping that if this is a dynamic you are experiencing, that this is providing you with a sense of comfort that you are not going crazy, because I do feel for the person I'm speaking to here, this might be making you feel that you are crazy or making you question why you are feeling the way that you are feeling. So I hope that this reading has provided you with a bit of comfort and peace and helped you to confirm that you are on the right track in listening to yourself and your guidance, even if it doesn't fully make sense to others or even your own conscious mind. You can trust yourself. And in fact, so much of your journey in this lifetime here on earth has been about learning to trust that intuitive technology within you, to trust your inner guidance. So if this is connecting, then in the extended version of the reading on Patreon, we will be going deeper into this. So we're going to be taking a look at the nature and purpose of this really high level soul connection, any words of guidance from your spirit guides regarding the complexity at play here, and information on how this specific masculine energy is thinking, feeling, and evolving at this time. So again, if you do feel guided to join me in the extended reading on Patreon, the link to do so is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. For now, I'm going to be closing this reading with one final Rumi Oracle card. And this card is Cosmic Heart. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the guidebook here. I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I have seen everything. I have no fear. I have the heart of a lion. I shine like Venus. Rumi. Then, in a moment of my crisis that cracked my heart open, I was given a gift. Though I felt fear and confusion, a gift came to me more powerful than those temporary ailments. The gift was the ability to hear the sound hidden beneath all of life. I heard it, that sacred sound of the beating heart of universal love. Now I know that belief in unworthy things like fear and doubt is lunacy. Even my loneliness became unconvincing to me. There is a time on the journey of love when the beloved is prepared to engage completely with the heart of the divine lover. You have been through these tantalizing trials, the push to surrender fear, the realization your attempts at control amount to not so much, actually. So why not abandon them altogether? The trials have asked you to confront every part of your being that holds itself back in resistance to what is, in resistance to what life presents at this very moment. You have been asked to become comfortable with the possible discomfort of not knowing and to understand you don't have to understand anything for life to work out with perfect synchronicity and generous grace. You have been asked to trust in your own heart wisdom. So that feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. If you do feel a resonance with the energy here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more information, inspiration, and energy updates. And of course, if you do want to continue on with me now through our Patreon Soul Tribe, the link to do so is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. Otherwise, I am sending you all so much love and light today. Have a beautiful day and start to your week. And I will connect with you here again in Wednesday's reading.